Today, I'm reviewing the Kiwi Ears Aether Planar Magnetic Driver IEMs. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. That's the box for the Aether. It's a pretty nice unboxing experience, actually. I won't take you through it all, but you get this lovely silver colored box, and the smaller accessory boxes inside are the same material. It's quite nice. But let's have a look at the IEMs, and I gotta say, I kind of like them. They look pretty sweet. We've got glossy black resin shells, probably 3D printed, single vent down near the base of the nozzle, and 3 little vents just in front of the 2-pin sockets there. But it's the face plates that are the star of the show. Really, really nice. They're black face plates with horizontal glittery silver lines going across and sprinkled in with some little glittery colors, a bit of purple and blue. They look really nice. Sort of fairly low key, but the closer you get, the more beautiful they become. Now these shells, well, from this angle, they're pretty reasonably small. However, they are somewhat wide, and there is a big driver in there. Before I get any further though, let's talk about the price. The price is $169 US. I've already seen them on sale for cheaper than that. Now the driver in here, rather large, 15.3 millimeter planar driver. So that's about all there is in terms of specifications and whatnot. They are comfortable for my ears. Like I said, a little bit large in terms of width, but not a problem for me. They sit nice and flush in my ears. Very nice. Let's have a look at the cable. And the cable is, well, it's pretty ordinary, isn't it? It's very generic. Nothing special about the cable, especially for an IEM at this price. Now, it's not a bad cable, don't get me wrong, but we're starting to get used to modular cables around this price point. So it's a shame that this one is not modular. You're stuck with a 3.5 millimeter. It's probably available in a balanced termination as well. I didn't check, but that's the cable. Nothing really to talk about. I guess that leaves us to talk about the sound, and well, we've got a slight V-shaped sound signature. It's pretty close to the Harman target tuning. Let's have a look at the graph here. There it is. So yeah, pretty nice actually. Don't worry about the jiggly jaggedy bits in the upper mids and the treble. That's pretty standard for most planar drivers for some reason. This is a very dynamic, vibrant, lively sounding IEM. In terms of bass, the bass is really nice. It's tight and clean. Each note is well defined. They've got a nice clean leading edge and a rapid, very controlled decay. There's great texture in the bass. Sub bass hits really nicely. You got a nice physical rumble. You can feel it. But even when you turn the volume up, it doesn't distort. There's no distortion in the bass. So really good quality driver we've got in there. And the housing, of course, makes a difference. The acoustic chamber. Kick drums are nice and firm and punchy. Good authority in the bass overall. And you notice the cohesion or the nice blend between driver speed and driver control and driver impact. The mid bass sits back just enough to let vocals and guitars and mid-range instruments breathe without feeling recessed. So it's a reasonably reserved mid bass, yet it's still got enough punch and presence there. And the nimbleness of the driver enables really good separation between like drums and bass guitars and other low string instruments like cellos, etc. So good layering in the bass. Okay, now for the mid-range, look, we've got a nice sort of nicely sitting between, I'd say, neutral accuracy and musicality. The mid-range, I would say, fairly neutral, maybe a touch on the leaner side, but vocals are nice and up front. They've got just the right amount of presence. They're neither recessed or they're not too forward and intimate. Again, nice textures in the mid-range, really crisp transient response. And what that does is it really enhances instrument separation. So you get really good separation of each individual element in the mid-range, giving it an overall spacious kind of feel. And when mixes get really busy or complex, The mid-range is nice and composed. It doesn't get muddled up. It doesn't start smearing at all. So really good control. That driver is quite impressive. And then there is the treble. And look, the treble, I'd say for the most part, it is perfectly fine. There is a bit of a peak at 8 kilohertz, which now and then can seem a little dissonant. It sort of jumps out. Things like shakers, you know, they can be sort of very forward and jump out of the mix quite a bit. But the treble notes are very crisp, very precise, super speedy, of course. I wouldn't necessarily call it the most airy treble. It sort of lacks a little bit of softness or a little bit of decay. The decay is very rapid on this Planar driver. Having said that, it's a very detailed treble, and for the most part, it never gives me any trouble. But look, if you turn up the volume, there can be a little bit of thinness in the upper mid-range and the treble. So if you are sensitive to that sort of thing, you might want to think twice about jumping on these, but I think most people will find it in the safe territory. So in terms of Soundstage, it's pretty good, quite expansive, very good instrument separation, which, you know, gives you more of a 3D holographic kind of sensation. And the imaging is quite good. Positional cues are excellent. So these are also great gaming IEMs as well. Very good for hearing what's going on around you. And overall, yeah, the technical performance is pretty spot on with these. Let's do a couple of comparisons. I'm going to start with this beastly thing here. Now, this is the Hi-Dis MP145. It's priced at currently about $159, so roughly the same price. You can find them both on sale at certain times. The Hi-Dis uses higher grade materials. It feels more premium overall, and it has a more premium cable as well. You'll notice that the faceplates are considerably larger on the MP145. However, in terms of width, they are roughly the same. So I find them both comfortable. However, the Hi-Dis one is rather heavy, relatively heavy, so that you need to find the right ear tips to get a really secure fit. Otherwise, they feel like they might fall out of your ears sometimes. But sonically, the MP145 is slightly less analytical. It's got a bit more warmth in the bass and the lower mid-range. It doesn't have a huge boost in bass quantity compared to the Kiwi Ears, just a sort of a subtle underlying warmth and slightly rounder note presentation in the lows. That said, the mid bass has a bit more of a tactile punch. It's a bit more physical. Micro detail retrieval, though, is surprisingly close between these two. They're both excellent at, you know, picking up micro details. Though the Aether edges ahead with slightly better instrument separation and a sharper transient response, particularly on percussion instruments like snares, hand claps, shakers and things. And the MP145 is also less fatiguing on bright recording, slightly warmer tonality. Overall, it leans slightly more musical and natural, where the Aether is sort of more technical with a little bit of added bite. Okay, next up, we've got the SimGot ET142. By the way, the Hi-Dis, is that a hybrid? I can't remember. Let me check. Okay, no, it's just a single Planar driver. The SimGot ET142, on the other hand, is a hybrid. It's got one Planar driver and one piezoelectric driver for the ultra highs. And the SimGot is slightly more expensive at $219 US. The ET142 again has a slightly more premium feel in terms of build, and it comes with a modular cable as well. The shells are a little bit smaller than the Aether, but like most SimGot shells, this polished finish tends to attract fingerprints and also attract micro scratches over time. But in terms of sound, the ET142 has a slightly weightier bass response, giving it a sort of a smoother, more rhythmic presentation. It shares a similar timbre and treble character with the Aether, but slightly less air in the staging. That is on the SimGot. It's got a little bit less air in the staging, which results in a slightly more intimate soundstage. The mid-range is smoother and a bit more reserved on the ET142, making mids less forward, but also slightly more relaxed. And then for detail retrieval, it's pretty comparable between these two. Both do a good job of, revealing micro details without sounding too analytical. The Aether has a bit more clarity in the upper mids and the treble. The ET142, on the other hand, counters with a richer, more grounded tonality. So, that's about wraps it up. These are all fantastic IEMs. We live in a great time, us audio lovers, us IEM lovers. Which one is the best? Well, that's going to depend on your personal preference. Honestly, I think as time goes by, it's getting harder and harder for me to choose my favorites in certain price points. I would probably say maybe the MP145, but it's only just. And that's only on certain music genres like the Aether. Let's come back to the Aether. This is a fantastic IEM. At the price, what did I say, 165? Let's check that. 169. Apparently it's been as low as like 135 during sales. This is a good release from Kiwi Ears. Very good. Very high quality audio. Nice build. The cable could be better. Accessories could be better, but yeah, it is what it is. I like it. I'm going to give this one my recommendation. So thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Par Family audiophile style. By the way, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. If you want to support the channel and help me keep creating content like this, check out the Patreon link down below or hit the little YouTube join button or whatever they call it. And until next time, I'll see you later.